Before we get into the video, I do want to reiterate that most of these cheats will only work on gold and silver version. In any case, just know that these I have not personally tested these for crystal version. Could work, they might not. Alright, so our first glitch in the series is going to be for cloning Pokemon and items. This is useful for cloning Master Balls, rare candies, and of course TMs. First, put the Pokemon you want to clone into the last slot of your party, which in this case is already darts. Next, you want to make sure you're already on an empty box. So in my case, it's going to be box 2. And then you want to make sure you can change to a different box that is also empty. This is just to make it as safe as possible. Next, you're going to save here. Then you're going to deposit the Pokemon you want to clone. And I'm going to turn off my speed up button here for this because you need to change it and you need to turn off the power and reboot up the game at a certain point. So whenever it says saving, don't turn off the power, you want to turn it off roughly whenever the T shows up in the. So right here. And then if you did it correctly, you should be able to deposit another one and then withdraw the other one. So now we're up to 2 darts. All right, so the next glitch is going to require us to start the game over again. We're also going to set it to Tuesday to make a future glitch easier. We can collect all the starters in the same save using a variation of this cloning glitch. One thing to keep in mind is that the extra Pokemon you get are not going to show up in your Pokedex because it's not going to remember that to add them, so you'll have to breed them later on to get them in the Pokedex. But otherwise, they should be able to obey you even once they get above the level. So to start this out, we're going to save here. We're going to grab Cyndaquil. And then we're going to complete the errand as normal. Now, once the aid gives you the Pokeballs, I highly recommend that you stick one on your starter immediately so you don't forget about it. This will speed up the glitch and make it a lot easier. Obviously, also spam no to teaching you how to catch Pokemon. Then you simply need to capture a Pokemon. Doesn't matter what, we're just using it to do the clone glitch. And once you have your Pokemon, you're going to go to the Pokemon Center here, and you're going to deposit it into the PC, your starter rather, and then you're going to change the box, and while it's saving, you're going to turn it off on the bottom line of text, print it out whenever it says, saving, don't turn off the power. Then, when we reload the game, we'll be back in front of the decision bench. Grab Chikorita this time. And this time, we'll withdraw Cyndaquil. Take the item off of it. Then we'll go and capture another Pokemon. You only get one Pokeball with this on the second phase, so you want to make sure you can get something down low enough that it's guaranteed. And once you have the second Pokemon, you're going to do the same thing, but this time you're going to deposit both Chikorita and Cyndaquil, or whichever two you picked. And then change the box again, once again turning it off whenever the bottom line of text appears. And this time you'll actually pick your true starter. Once you go to Cherry Grove, you just simply need to withdraw the Chikorita and the Cyndaquil, and then save the game properly. And now you have all 3 starters. Now, they will all have your trainer ID, so they won't get boosted experience. Alright, and then just to demonstrate, I just beat a Pidgey after switching Totodile with Cyndaquil. They both get 15 experience, so the Pokemon are still treated as yours. If you look in their status, they still have your username. This differs a little bit from the Gen 1 starter cloning glitch. And when we get the Pokedex, you'll see that the first 2 you choose do not show up. But again, all you have to do is breed them, and then you can get them in the Pokedex normally later on in the game. Now, as you can tell, I have Chikorita in the dex as seen because of the rival, but I don't have Cyndaquil, and the only one I have registered as being captured is Totodile. Just to further reiterate, the Cyndaquil evolved into Quilava, and I still only have data for Quilava instead of Cyndaquil. Also, to further drive the point home, I was able to change Quilava's nickname at the name rater, so it is treated as your own Pokemon. Now we're going to use the cloning glitch to get multiple catches in the bug catching contest. So the first thing you're going to do is save in front of the attendant. And then the next thing you need to do is register for the contest. And then next you need to find the Pokemon you want to capture. And I literally decided to wait till Allegation was on 1 HP. Now we're going to ignore this encounter, and we're going to end the game early. We're going to say no to naming the Scyther, and because it ended up in our party, we can actually put the berry we just got on it, and then we can deposit into the box. And then change the box, and once again reset whenever we get to that text. And when we reload the game, we'll be back in that first room. However, we'll be able to withdraw the Scyther with the gold berry attached. This is a good way to get multiple sunstones and of course get some of the version exclusive bug types and the bug types that only appeared during the contest. Now there's a glitch you can do that will allow you to farm XP, and you can do this with as many battles as you want. I'm just going to do it in this underground path since this is all I have right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by saving the game, and then we're just going to battle all these guys. Once you've cleared all the trainers that you care to, you'll head back to the Pokemon Center. And then you're going to deposit the Pokemon you just trained. So in this case, it'll be Chikorita. And then you'll change the box, and whenever you get to the text that says, saving, don't turn off the power, you'll turn it off as normal. And you'll be back to where you first saved. However, within the Pokemon Center, there is now a higher level Chikorita than the one that is in my party. So, I can leave the one that's in my party in the PC, and then collect the one from the box. Then, of course, you return to the area where you're level grinding, and you can rebattle all the trainers as you did before. So now, having a level whatever you trained it up to, and you can still collect all the XP again. So for this next glitch, you'll need to make sure you get the shiny Gyarados in the Lake of Rage. We're going to transfer it to Gen 1, and then we're going to capture a Ditto. However, we're going to make the Ditto shiny using this. Now we're going to load up the Pokemon Lab on Pokemon Stadium 2. Ordinarily, you could just use the Time Machine to do this. So we can trade Gyarados because all these moves existed in Gen 1. So now, back in our Pokemon Blue file, we have a Gyarados. And the reason why the game is able to remember that this is a shiny Pokemon when we send it back is actually because it's based on the Pokemon's DVs, which is a primitive version of IVs. Now, the thing is, if we teach it Mimic, there's a fun thing we can do where we can get a guaranteed shiny Ditto to send to Gold and Silver. Now we're going to use TM31 to teach Gyarados Mimic. And you could also use this, you could also get rid of Dragon Rage, Bite, or Thrash as well at the move deleter if you're far enough in the game. So that you don't accidentally knock out your own Gyarados, but it's okay. I'm going to get rid of Thrash. This Gyarados should be able to eat a bite from itself. Dragon Rage is a fixed 40, which at 97 HP is going to take at least 2 hits. And Mimic will be the big move we needed to get copy. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a Ditto and we need to lead with Gyarados, because our Gyarados has to do Mimic before Ditto transforms. Probably should have got some stat boosting moves, because I just messed this up. Great. Alright, then once you've found a Ditto, you just need to use Mimic and take Transform before it transforms into Gyarados. And now from here, we just need to keep spamming until eventually uses Transform again. Now, we do not want it to knock out our Gyarados here, so we need to keep healing. Eventually, the Ditto will transform again. Once it's done that, it's copied the IVs of the Gyarados as well. So this Ditto now has the IVs of a Shiny. So when we send it to Gold and Silver, we can use it to breed Pokemon for really high Shiny odds. Now, if we load in the Coincase cartridge on Pokemon Stadium 2, you can see we have a Ditto here that is completely blue. I had to do some finagling to get this to work with Pokemon Stadium, because Stadium for some reason requires you to capture 150 Pokemon before you can transfer certain things, and it's really stupid. If you're doing this with a link cable or a virtual console, this wouldn't even be an issue. You could just trade it through with no problem. But for some reason, Pokemon Stadium's stupid. It wouldn't let me transfer it in or trade unless I did this. So I just went ahead and used a cheat to give myself the dex, and we can get back to the rest of the glitch. So now here's our beautiful blue Ditto, which I should have nicknamed Majin Blue whenever I had the chance, but that's alright. So now all we need to do is leave our Ditto with the daycare lady, and all Pokemon that have both genders will have a 1 in 52 chance of being shiny, the highest rate of any Pokemon game without glitching. The only one being higher is the Cute Charm glitch in Gen 4. Now there are some caveats for this. For Pokemon such as Totodile, Chikorita, and Typhlosion, or Eevee, that have lopsided male to female ratios, some of them may be impossible to get male or female versions of the shiny. In particular, starters and Eevee cannot have a female shiny. It is physically impossible, because the attack EV or the attack IV needs to be a certain number, which it will never get, unfortunately. There's a lot of stuff you got to look into with how it works, because it is based on the DV stats. If you're going for a competitive build, shiny hunting is not the way to go in Gen 2. Now, this next glitch in the series is going to make all the glitches in Bethesda look like child's play. See, thanks to a coding oversight, the Coincase is able to execute arbitrary code in the North American version. So, thanks to a weird setup, I have a Quagsire here with Sleep Talk as its first move, holding an HP up, and the 4th slot of my party. In the 3rd slot, I have a random freshly caught Pokemon, in this case just a low-level Togepi, a low-level Sentret. This is going to be our sacrifice, and it may or may not work. It's kind of RNG, and then the 2nd slot can be whatever, so I made it Kenya or Flyer. Now, I did mess up one thing. Now, in order for this to work, you also need to make sure that you have your PC set up a certain way. I largely just copied the A+ start version of this. I'll link to that video in the description as well. And then you're going to enter Professor Elm's lab. You're going to save. And then you're going to restart the game. And when we load it up, we're going to step outside and we're going to take 4 steps this way. Then we're going to open up the Pokedex and we're going to go down to Bellsprout. We're going to listen to its cry, which isn't audible because I'm canceling out the audio due to the speed up button, but it is what it is. And then we're going to use the Coincase. Now we are going to use Kenya and fly to Goldenrod City, and hopefully this isn't going to get bugged because the shiny Ditto is still in the thing. But we're going to go ahead and raise the Sentret. Wait a couple seconds. Talk to him again. Oh, that's going to be a glitch Pokemon. Oh no, it actually did work. We have our Celebi. Now it's still going to know all of Sentret's moves, and as you can tell by the name, it still has its name. Well, you can literally just go fix this by taking it up to the name raider and getting its name changed, and then giving it TMs or letting it learn its moves and erase stuff naturally. While you can get Celebi with this method, it is also possible to get Celebi in the Virtual Console version of Crystal through the GS Ball event that was added to the game. Additionally, you can get it through the Corrupt Clone method, which I do not recommend. I can link a video that I find hilarious talking about the method to get it. In the process, you can do things like destroy the game's text and do all kinds of other bad things to the game. I do not recommend it. I highly recommend this method if you don't have the Virtual Console Crystal version. If you have Virtual Console Crystal version, just use that one. With a slight adjustment, we can actually send the Coincase to go looking for different data, so we can use our boxes to execute code rather than the storage items. So if you have the move return in the first slot of our Quagsire and then give it an TMO2, which is headbutt, you can get return at the top floor of the Pokemart in Goldenrod City on specific days by having a Pokemon tie in a friendship at the front of your party. And you can buy TMO2 immediately after collecting it from the random kid in Ilex Forest. You just need a Pokemon with really low stats as the slide Pokemon, so Togepi works out really well here. Kenya just fly around, and then of course the Pokemon we need to change, which is going to be Celebi. Now within our boxes, we have done quite a bit of renaming. To do this, all you need to do is click on the box you want and then hit name, and then you can type it in. Keep in mind it will make you retype the entire thing if you mess it up. But this is box 1 through 4. And then this is boxes 5 through 8. Those are the only ones you need to change for this code to work. So save inside the Pokemart, step out, 4 steps to the right. Listen to Bellsprout's cry. Then go into the Coincase, and then you should start freaking out like this. Your sprites will disappear. It is what it is. You'll have to fight a bit to get to your party. Once you do, you have Celebi. So we'll save the game, reload it, and then our Celebi should still be shiny. Now, if you do this, it can actually change the gender of the Pokemon as well. As I stated before, shininess is determined based on stats, as is gender. So be careful about that if you want to make sure your Pokemon stay at the same gender, but this will turn them shiny. Alright, using the box names, we can also change the species of the Pokemon. For this, I'm going to try to get a Mew, and I'm also going to test to see if it will maintain its shininess whenever you use this glitch. So we're going to use the same setup we had before. The only difference is that we're going to change the box names of the first 6. 7 and 8 don't matter, so I just changed them back to box 7 and 8. You'll need this one for 1, this one for 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Then you'll go to the Cherry Grove Pokemart and save the game. Exit, take 4 steps to the right. Open up the Pokedex and listen to Bellsprout's cry. Then go into the Coincase and use it. Alright, your menu's going to start freaking out. Try to fight through it. We're going to fly with Kenya, and we're going to go to... You're not going to see the icon for it. To Goldenrod City. And then while you're invisible, like you're navigating Dark Cave without flash, walk into the daycare and give them Celebi. Move around for a little bit, grab Celebi back. And it should be the new Pokemon. And it does retain its shininess. So now I have a shiny Mew and a shiny Celebi. Then all you need to do once you've done this is save the game, which is going to be a little difficult because you have to fight the text thing here as it constantly runs through. And then just restart the game and you should be fine. Everything will reset back to normal. All the sprites are back in place and Celebi is now Mew. Using this glitch, we can also beat the game extremely early and probably brick our save here a bit, or at least softlock ourselves. So we're going to change up the Quagsire with a Wooper. This time it's still going to have return, but it's also going to be holding the Sweet Scent TM. You get this from one of the guards at the gate on the way into Goldenrod. Then you need to make sure that each of your boxes is named as such. And then stand right here in front of this PC and save. From here, you're going to press down once, and then you're going to keep holding right until you get to this tile here. Open up your Pokedex, listen to Bellsprout's cry again. And then go into the pack and use the Coincase. Did it right, the game shouldn't crash, and you'll be able to start walking around, all the sprites will be gone. Go up the stairs, go down the stairs, and try to maneuver over to red. Then when you talk to red, or at least where he would be, you'll get the ... and end credits. Incredibly janky end credits that I'm having to hold A to get through. Because otherwise they just freeze like this. And then when you exit, once you're done with the end credits, you'll notice you can't even get wild encounters because you basically have no Pokemon. We have nothing in our bag now. And we have to have a Pokemon to even use the PC. So how we actually need to fix this bug is by getting a gift Pokemon, but the problem is I don't think we can even get over to get a gift Pokemon. Yeah, there's now a guard here that we cannot get through, and this game is officially soft locked. But we could beat the game. That is all for this one. Happy haunting.